Did you know there's a better can opener? Yeah, I just found out myself. Load updates, Maple and more on this episode of
the Clutch Trucker Channel.
Clutch Trucker, filmed before a live, furry, and oh-so-sweet studio audience. Yep, you know your lover. Joe can't live without her. It's Maple, the world-famous pancake dog. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker Channel. Alright, yeah, I discovered this channel a couple of months ago on YouTube called Technology Connections. And he does a whole bunch of great videos about like heat pumps, air conditioning, the beta versus VHS thing, you know, why you really shouldn't use the pods for your dishwasher, all sorts of good stuff. And I came across one of his videos and he was talking about this thing. This is a newer style can opener. And I'd never seen one before, but apparently they've been out for like 20 years. But we don't all kind of have these. We all have the other kind. Yeah, I find his videos very interesting because he goes into way too much detail many times on, you know, all sorts of things like, you know, gas lamps and where the flat wick lamps and all that came from. You know, it's very nerdy. It goes into way too many details for most people, but I find it interesting. So it's something good for me to watch when I'm trying to wind down after a long day of driving. Anyway, he brought up, well, let me show you.
Today, we're going to look at a can opener. There has been a new kind of can opener since the 1980s, which, while I know has found its way into pop culture at least one time in an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, for the record, seems to have largely languished away in the kitchen drawer of mild obscurities. This is what it looks like.
So yeah, that's where I found out there's a newer kind of can opener. It's not actually all that new, but it's a better one. Here's what we all pretty much know and have. They're all kind of pretty much the same. You have your two handles, and the way they work is you have the cutting wheel here, this wheel that goes on the bottom of the rim of the can, and you squeeze that down so the cutting wheel goes into the can, right? And then you crank it around, crank it around, crank it around. But then what happens? The lid drops into the can. Now you got to try to kind of pull that lid out. How many times have you cut your fingers doing that? So sometimes it doesn't get that last little bit. You gotta kind of, you know. And then you still have the rim in there, and like if you're doing SpaghettiOs, well, they don't all want to fall out. Well, there's a better way, as they always say in those infomercials. There's got to be a better way. Well, there is. It's this thing. Yeah, it's just one handle. And you look at it, and you're like, well, how does that work? Well, it works basically the same way. Here's the official thing I got. So after I watched his video, I went on Amazon and I ordered one, $10. And he said even when he was buying can openers at Walmart, you have like, you know, 15 versions of this thing that we've all known for years. Well, and there's like one of these. So why doesn't everybody know about it? It's weird because once you know, you know. IYKYK, if you know, you know. Alright, so this is the Good Cook. I've taken it out of the package already. But see, it says on here, easy lift lid removal, opens all can sizes, leaves can and lid smooth and clean, and no sharp edges. And I got this off Amazon, $10. So that's what this thing does. Alright, and through the magic of editing, we're going to go back in time and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so this is what I was showing you earlier. And actually, this is actually earlier than what I recorded earlier. So here we are. It's 11 p.m. Midnight Central Time here in Eads, Colorado. We've parked here many times, and I got to do a half-hour break somewhere along this route, so I thought this would be a good place tonight. And there's grass for Maple, so we got to take her out and let her do her business and get her some dinner. But all right, so here we have the can opener. And this would be, I thought, the perfect time to give it a try. I had kind of a meal earlier with my wife while I was in Cheyenne before I left town. It was like her dinner, my breakfast. So now I thought I'd make myself a little tuna sandwich. I like a tuna sandwich. And so here we have your basic, you know, Star-Kissed tuna can. And we're going to find out how this thing works. I'm going to do it over here over the sink because, you know, you still might have some of that extra water stuff come out, but let's test her out. Okay, you can see I've got my little trusty can of tuna right here. Alrighty, so let's give this a thing. Now you're so used to like the handle where you crank it down on that, but you see you've got this edge here. This rests on top of the can, and then you get the edge in there, and it's going to cut right around that edge. So let's give it a shot here. All right. Okay. I'm pushing down on the can, and oh, there we go, and it's starting to go. Oh, look at that. Okay. So you do have to give it a little downward pressure, and then you just crank the handle, and it makes its way around the can, turns the can. And we'll see how great this is. I think we made it all the way around. Did we? All right. Let's turn it back to loosen it up. Look at that. Oh, just pops right off. All right. So now, and you can put it back on. No sharp edges. So you're not going to cut yourself. So now we'll just drain it into the sink. Okay, well, made a discovery here. Wouldn't recommend it for tuna cans, but I'd recommend it for opening pretty much anything else, like Chef Boyardee, SpaghettiOs, soups and all that, because now it's not going to get caught on the inside of that lip when you always have to get in there and scrape it out. But because the lid doesn't fall into the can, the only time you really would want it to do that is when you have tuna, where you'd want to be able to squeeze that juice out. And well, since the lid stays on top, I wasn't able to do that. All right, so since I wasn't able to squeeze the stuff out, I pulled out one of my, they say no drain, but you still got to drain it a little bit. But see, here's the difference. It's a pull tab one. You still got that lip on the inside, so that everything gets caught on the inside. So that would be the difference there. But like for SpaghettiOs or chili, soups, and all that, that would be great not to have that lip on the inside, and everything will slide on out. What do you think? Okay, yeah, as I showed, not the best for tuna cans, but outside of that, everything else can be done with these. Here, okay, I'm still a SpaghettiO fan from my childhood. Although you notice now it's Campbell's SpaghettiOs, it's not Chef Boyardee. Although I think it's still Chef Boyardee for the ravioli, which is weird. So I guess Campbell's just bought the SpaghettiOs. Okay, but look, this one has the pull tab. Okay, but the problem, like I showed on the tuna can, you do the pull tab, you still have that inner lip. And so when you're trying to get everything to fall out, well, it gets caught on the lip. Now you got to scrape it out. So this would be a perfect way to use this one. So this is what I'm going to eat for my dinner / breakfast, whatever you want to call it, because now here it is, 9 o'clock in the morning on the 4th, a Thursday, but I got to sleep so I can drive again tonight. So this will kind of be my dinner. I'm going to have a little salad first, and then I'm going to have SpaghettiOs. So we'll go ahead and try it on this can. Okay, like I showed the other one, I have found you have to put a little downward pressure on it to get it started. So I've got it against the steering wheel, and I'm pushing down on it a little bit. So then you start turning it, well, then it grabs. So how cool is that? Even if you have the pull tab cans, but you want to have a cleaner lid and everything, and not have that lip inside, this still works for that. How about that? $10 off Amazon. The Good Cook brand, I think is what this one was. So who knew? There was all these years there's been a better can opener that most of us didn't even know about. It even says right here on the packaging, it says this safe cut can opener cuts into the bead of a can's lid from the side, not from the top like typical can openers. With a clean, safe edge, the lid can be repurposed for short-term keeping. If you have remaining stuff in your can, you can place the lid back on for temporary storage. This one, like I say, is the Good Cook variety from Bradshaw Home of Rancho Cucamonga, California. I just love, that's just a fun name to say, Rancho Cucamonga. I'll put a link down in the description to that on Amazon, and I'll also put a link down in the description to that video about the can opener from the Technology Connections channel. All right, so back to the main trucker stuff. Well, if it's been a few days. I delivered on Tuesday in what I thought would be Idaho Falls, but no. Yeah, so here's a fun one. This load I just am delivering for Hill Brothers in 3 different places: on their tracker, on the bills of lading, and on the rate confirmation. They all show an address in Idaho Falls. Each of them has a little bit different address. It's in Rexburg, Idaho, about 30 miles north of Idaho Falls. Good thing I called this morning, so here we are getting unloaded at least. Yeah, see, it's the Sinclair here in Rexburg, Idaho. They're doing some construction. The street behind it's torn up, so they just have me back up, and they're just using a forklift and a pallet jack to get everything off. So, at least nice sunny day here. Yeah, so he's bringing it all out to the end, and they just fork it off. There's Maple, having to watch what's going on. Hey, Maple girl. How you doing, sweetie? You want to come out? You want to come out? I think that's a yes. Oh, that's yes. Yeah, so that broker screwed up in a big way. I had to call them and say, look, not only do you have the addresses wrong with different street names, or whether it's street or highway or avenue, it's the wrong damn city! But I've been doing this 15 years. Nothing surprises me anymore. But now that put me 45 miles away from my next pickup, as opposed to the 11 it was supposed to be. And then there's 3 warehouses there all with the same name, and of course they gave me the wrong one, and then they gave me another one wrong, and so I got loaded late. So I had to, this was going to be a tight run anyway, but then I had to drive late into the night. I got parked late Tuesday night in Cheyenne. So I had dinner with my wife, and then I drove overnight, all night. So here I am in O'Donnell, Texas, on Thursday morning, the 4th. Just kind of ridiculous, you know, but that's trucking, baby. So now I'm going to sleep later, and I'll have my SpaghettiOs and I have my salad. Then I'll go to bed, and I'll finish the drive on into San Antonio for Friday morning 3 a.m. delivery. What a lousy delivery time for the 5th. Then I'll try to find another load. Now, I was going to do the lignite again for Monday, and I was going to get a load back from San Antonio back towards Colorado, Wyoming area. Well, that load got canceled on me also on Tuesday afternoon. The joys of trucking, baby. So it's not worth it for me to go back to Colorado, Wyoming area if the lignite's not there, because then everything out of Colorado pays crap. So I guess we'll be heading a different direction. But at least luckily I got to go through the house, have dinner with my wife, which was my breakfast, got a shower, got reloaded with a couple of things, so we're good to go for a while. So it's up in the air for now. Well, I tried to get this video edited yesterday, which would have been the Thursday, but then I was too tired after driving almost 700 miles, so I had to go to bed. So then delivered this morning in San Antonio, and then I have booked a couple more loads, both through RXO. I picked up another load in Shriner, Texas, going over to Albany, Georgia for a Monday delivery. And then I've got another one picking up in Hawksville, Georgia, going to Dunmore, Pennsylvania for a Wednesday delivery. So we got things to keep us rolling. So right now parked here in Flatonia, Texas off I-10. So we'll, you know, I've been up since like 5:30 yesterday afternoon. So here it is now Friday the 5th. And I'm finishing editing the video, and then I'm going to bed. Well, thanks for tuning in for that one. Just thought that would be fun. I thought that was great information. There's a newer kind of can opener. So, yeah, other than tuna, I think it's a beautiful thing. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please like, comment, share, and all that jazz. There's Clutch Trucker on Instagram, Clutch Trucker on Twitter X, Clutch Trucker 5 on TikTok. And as always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch and Maple, out. You ever hear of a tune-up? You ever hear of a ritual killing? Gnaw on her face in public again like that, and you'll be one. Oh, and today we're doing the Smart Bones made with real peanut butter. Ooh. All right, sweet Maple girl. You ready for a Smart Bone? Are you ready for a Smart Bone? Oh, yeah, they're coming. Hey, sweetie. Oh, here it is. Come over here. Oh, look at her dancing on her hind legs. Isn't that cute? She's good at doing that. There you go. All right. She's all over it. Look at that tail wag. That's a happy girl. Oh, she loves those Smart Bones. All right, Maple. We'll let you get at it. We'll check in with you here at the end, all right? Yeah, I've noticed she tends to go through the peanut butter ones a little bit faster than the chicken ones. She just loves these Smart Bones. Look at that tail. Maple, you love that Smart Bone? Yeah, see, there goes the tail. All right, she's finishing it up. She's finishing it up. That's a happy dog. I still see another piece on the floor there, Maple. Better make sure you get that. Oh yeah. You find it? You find it? You're all good? You're all good? Alrighty. Oh, scratch. Got a scratch. Let's give that happy dog look.